I sensed God's hand on my life as a child. Certainly didn't have a perfect childhood. Had dreams. I felt that my dreams would take me somewhere in life.
The ultimate decision that's worth of any value of anything isn't accomplishments or gold belt buckles or anything like that.
It's a tough sport, guys, but it's a tougher sport to try to find your identity in what you do.
Rodeo gave me something in my life that kept me off the streets. It gave me an area that I would try to practice and excel in, and it was one of those events, no matter how far or how good I became at it, that I could always get better.
But I know that it takes one thing. It takes a heart to seek Him, and to take a humble man to bow down on his knees in front of a multitude of sports fans and competitors, or that your peers that maybe don't see things eye to eye the way you and I do. And it doesn't matter if it's a rodeo arena in Las Vegas or if it's at a workplace.
Once I realized that all I needed to do was be renewed in my mind. My heart was fine. My mouth needed work on, like a lot of us, but I needed to get my mind meditated and studied on the Word of God.
Well, when you grow up under the circumstances and the situation and the influence in your life, you actually become those things.
Every aspect of my life, God wanted me to be fruitful.
When I was 5, 6 years old, seeing pictures of my grandfather, who was a founder to the Professional Rodeo Cowboy Association in the 40s. And my father did it, and because he did it, I was exposed to it and around it. And at 6 years old, working cows with my dad on a ranch in California, when we were done doctoring the animals, he would literally set me on a calf, and there we went. And from then, it just turned into a profession.
Train a child in the way that he should go, and when he's older, he will not depart from that. And those seeds that were invested in my life, eventually later in life, I would come back to that knowledge.
I experienced a number of things in my life, even from the smallest age of coming from a dysfunctional family of divorce. Mother and father living on both ends of the country. I literally soul searched and ran back and forth. And what I was saying, I was crying out saying, I am hurting here. What can I place my identity to? I still felt a yearning in my heart and a call of God's Spirit pulling me closer into that relationship. Because see, I had a praying grandmother that set me on the foot of her bed and told me about Moses, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And these are the men that inspired my dreams and my hope. And she always told me that if I would put God in the forefront of my life, that I would do great things. And you know what? She went farther. She said I'd be doing what I'm doing tonight. I'd share the gospel, that I would preach, and I would be used by God.
You have to trust Him. You have to pray. You have to put everything in His hands. 10 years ago, the church was on top of the charts as being the influencer and shaping our country and our culture. Today, it has fell to number 16. The number one cultural shaper is media. And so the Christians need to take back the airways, the byways, the highways. And in order to do that, we have to produce content that is glorifying to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
I lived my whole life thinking that if I had a world championship, I could really become somebody in my life. God would be proud of me, people would accept me, and then I could share the love of Jesus Christ that was in my heart. As my mother would leave me with my grandmother in all my insecurities, I would ask my grandmother things like, Grandma, what happens to us here when our life is over? And I remember my grandmother telling me that that's very easy, that the Lord would evaluate our lives. And if we have lived our life that was holy and pleasing and serving the Lord, that He would say, enter in, well done, good and faithful servant. And so I want to encourage you today that if you've been doing things and struggling and straining to gain God's love, God's acceptance in your life, we need to stop those things right now and fall humbly on our knees and ask Jesus Christ into our heart.